Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin' With Web Show. I'm GW Pomacher. Thank you so much for logging on and tuning in. If you haven't done it yet, go on down and hit subscribe for us. We'll wait. That's as long as we're waiting. Don't forget, check out the description for more information about our partners and our guest here on the Hangin' With Web Show. We are here tonight hanging with K.R. Miller, an educator, a motivational speaker, and the author of Swimming with Sharks and Dolphins. Swimming with Sharks and Dolphins. Ken, thanks for hanging with us, man.
Yeah, it's great
to
be here. Very good to be here.
Loving the artwork here, by the way. I know there's a story in there.
There's somewhere. A story in there, yes.
Okay, so let's start with Swimming with Sharks and Dolphins. What inspired this book?
My wife and I were both educators, and we moved to Florida in 2010 to be near our grandchildren, and it would be an open and a wonderful opportunity to do some writing, because my wife's an author, and I had never written anything prior to that, and always talked about, you know, sharing the 42 and a half years I was in public education. Had a real unique perspective in the sense that I started in the high school, did all kind of jobs, wasn't afraid to take a chance and try different things, activity director. The hardest job was the vice principal. They asked me to do it, and they said, don't worry, it's only temporary. Well, it turned out being, and it was temporary. They named it temporary terminal assistant principal. Well, it ended up being about 12 years. That's a whole new meaning to the word terminal.
Well, technically, that's temporary.
Yeah, that's
a real technicality there, though.
Right. So I ended up doing that, and then from there I went to the principalship of elementary schools, and then finished as a superintendent. So when we moved here, it was an opportunity to have some time to share all the wonderful stories and all of the lessons that I learned in leadership and adding value to others in a book. And so my wife was really the driving force for getting me to sit down and write. Every day my phone would clink and it would say, don't forget to write a story, don't forget to write a story. And that's kind of how it began.
The most difficult part of the creative process is the discipline to take a creative mind and put it at a keyboard.
Right.
And get you to actually put the word out there.
Put the words out there, tell the story, and she would take the story and mold it, you know, and find a quote, a beautiful quote at the beginning of each chapter. There's 61 chapters.
Now, is this, now we haven't had a chance to read the book yet.
Right,
but now is this a collection of anecdotal stories? Is it, you know, how is this structured?
It's the history of my 42 and a half years in education, from and my upbringing and where I went to school and all the lessons that I learned about leadership.
And so let me see that book real quick back behind the camera, guys. Let me see that book. I want to just show somebody. This is when you get ready to retire. This is your resume.
Yes, that's right.
That's what it should look like. If it doesn't look like this, you're not ready to retire yet.
That's absolutely right. You know, and then when we were after 61 stories, they're all short.
They're all short.
Very easy, and a lot of the reviews we've gotten already have been fantastic. Where people said it was an easy read, it was funny, humorous, and it was touching. And so, I mean, we've been really excited about the way it's been received. But as we were coming up with the topic, you know, it's all about how you deal with leading people. You know, and that whole thing is a difficult
young people,
job. Young people, little kids,
young people in particular,
right.
Because the leadership methods that we use with a high schooler or a young person or even like you said, an elementary school kid, very different from leading adults.
Yes,
whose minds are already formed, whose brains are already formed, and leading them is difficult, but you know, there's a methodology to it. I'm an old Army guy, so there's very specific methodology to leading adults.
Right.
Very different to try to lead children. I have many of them, and wow, yeah. Well, that's like herding wet cats.
Yes.
All right, so I tell you what, we're gonna dive into the core of your book.
Right.
And so, if you could describe leadership in a single sentence, how would you do that? Well, if he could do that, he wouldn't have 350 pages.
Well, I did it in 61 chapters.
61 chapters, that's right.
You know, leadership requires courage. It requires the ability to listen, the ability to work with not only the Dolphins, and it's a metaphor. Those are the people that are the team players, the ones that want to be with you, are really driven by your leadership, and be able to swim in the same waters with the sharks. Those are the people that are the protagonists. They're the ones that don't want to follow don't want to be on the team, no matter what the rules are. Even when something's good, they're
a little challenging to lead those. Yeah.
So this is all about learning how to be a leader and be able to work not only with the Dolphins but also with the Sharks. And
now, when did you publish?
When
did you publish it?
We published in October.
Okay.
And it came out on the 1st of October. At the same time that we finished the book, I was faced with a challenge to find out that I had cancer.
Wow.
I had lymphoma, and as a result, it kind of thwarted the with this book coming out right at the time, just as I found out that I had this
Wow.
very serious case. The good news is that through the chemotherapy that I've just completed, the cancer is gone. It's completely gone. It was a blood-borne cancer.
And yet another lesson learned.
Another lesson about that's all about never giving up, having hope, believing in yourself and in God, and the ability to overcome it.
Fantastic.
So now we are on the other side of it, in the sense that we're coming out. And really
now I love the subtitle here, a 42.5 year journey into education. 42, not 42 and a half. Not, you were very specific.
Very, because the first 6 months of teaching was pretty difficult. So I didn't want to miss that .5.
No, that .5 is going to be really, really important.
Right.
You know, the classroom, the schoolhouse in general, is an amazing place filled with all kinds of personalities and all kinds of, most of which you probably chronicle in 42.5 years. What would you say is the funniest or most memorable moment that you've had with a student or with another faculty member, even in the schoolyard, in the schoolhouse?
I'd have to start to just say the very first day that I started.
The very first day.
Because when before I walked in to teach the class, it was mid-year, and I was coming in to teach social science, and the principal said the last person we had to quit, he flunked 140 of his seniors. He had 180 seniors. He flunked 140 of them. Here's a list of all the troublemakers. Well, there's 140 troublemakers. So I said, what? You got to be kidding me. So when I walked in the room, there was like daggers, And I was 23 years old. They were 18. I was only 5 years older than they were, and I was beginning my career. And I walked in there, and I said, and they could hear a pin drop, and I looked at all of them, and I said, I have a list here of 140 troublemakers, But I took the list, and I tore it up right in front of them. And I said, you know what? Let me have a chance, I'll have you a chance, and let's see if we can't resolve the issues that caused so many of you to not pass this class. You have to pass government to graduate. So we're both going to win at the end of the day. And it was like, you could just hear everybody exhale a little bit.
180 seniors, 140 of them had already flunked.
Right, which is unheard of.
You walk in and give them a fresh start. How many seniors did you graduate that year? I know you know.
All of them.
All of them. Every one.
Every single one.
Every one.
Because, you have to have hope, and you have to give them hope. They didn't have hope before. And a couple of them wanted to fight right off the bat, and I took them outside and I said, look, we're going to walk back in here. I'm not going to say one word that I said to you outside, but you need to give me a chance, and I'll give you a chance. Let's walk right back in. I walked in and hoped they were right behind me. They followed me. And for the rest of my life, I think that was really critical. And I have one other story that I think you'll
absolutely
love.
Yes.
When I first started coaching, I became an assistant football coach of a junior varsity. I was so excited. And I worked so hard to get those kids fired up. I mean, we were yelling at them, and I was so exhausted every day after school with that. So we had the first game. At the end of the first quarter, we're down 39-0. We're just absolutely getting creamed. Even my friends in the stands are yelling, it's Miller's fault, I didn't think that was very funny. But, so as I'm leaving the field, at the end of the day, I'm just this completely destroyed. And all of the players are all, despondent. It was our very first game. And an old coach came down and put his arm around me and says, I know you're pretty upset. And I said, well, I'm very disappointed. I said, I tried so hard to motivate them. I tried so hard, you know, to motivate them, and it didn't work. And he said, no. You need to learn a very valuable lesson. Your job is not to motivate kids. Your job is to inspire kids to motivate themselves. It's about inspiring people to do the best they can do.
In that vein,
yes,
those of you on the World Wide Web who have read our blog and seen the stuff that I've written about the subject in general, can you tell us in the most concise way that you can think, what is, in your opinion, 42.5 years of opinion, what is the goal, what is the function of education in today's society to you as an educator?
It used to be, there's an old quote about the sage on the stage versus the guide on the side. It's the person that stands up there and preaches to you or lectures to you, as opposed to the person that helps you become the best you can be. And that's really what it's about.
I had a teacher in the 6th grade, and it's stuck with me ever since, that told me, as much as she wanted me to learn the names and dates and facts and figures and all of the trappings of academia, her job, in her opinion, was to teach me how to learn so that I could be a better person.
Right.
And I could spend the rest of my life developing that tool on my own if she did her job.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that just stuck with me. It always has. And I like that, the guide on the side, that person that makes you a better person. That's just an amazing viewpoint of education, because so much of what our kids go through now, I've learned a term, I think that we've taken junior high and turned it into workforce development. We want them to have a marketable, suitable skill, and versus teaching kids, as you've obviously done for all those years, how to learn, how to become. The rest will take care of itself if we give them that skill, right?
Absolutely.
So, so we talked about swimming with sharks and dolphins, and a 42.5-year journey in education, and I know that we could probably talk for hours about education and kids and leading. That's just a very deep subject. 60 chapters?
61 chapters, but some of them are very, very short.
61 chapters worth of deep here. So,
well, worth of fun. I would say a lot
fun.
of humor, a lot of tough issues that I faced throughout my career, and how we learned to.
What was the toughest decision that you had to make as a teacher, an administrator, an educator in all those years?
The toughest decision.
Maybe this just stands out that you still kind of look at and go, "Wow, did I make that right call?"
Well, I think one of the toughest decisions that you make sometimes in your life is to make a change. And so early on in my career, I was not willing to do that, like to go to a different job. I stayed in the safe place. But this guy told me, when opportunity happens, you need to take that chance. So the most difficult decision, and yet probably the best decision I ever made, is when that door opened again, I took it. Vice principal, activity director, elementary principal. And as I went, each one of those opportunities helped me grow, helped me learn, and helped me realize it doesn't matter the size of the shoes of the kids. I care about education, I care about kids, and that's what I'm going to do. So I think that first difficult decision to finally say, yeah, I'm going to take that job, even if it's temporary terminal, and
only lasts 12 years.
And only lasts 12 years. When you stop and realize that I was the activity director, the fun and games guy, and now I was going to be the disciplinarian. So a difficult decision, but I never regretted it once.
Wow, that is fantastic. Well, we are on to the portion of the show I like to call clickbait. Now, the young viewers out there know what this is, and I explained to all the guests, clickbait are those headlines you just can't resist when you're strolling through your Twitter feed or Facebook, and you just see one of those headlines, oh, I have to click on that, because that's going to make you a best-selling author and me an internet sensation. So what we do is I send the girls out, they find the most ridiculous questions they can find on the World Wide Web, and I ask you, and your real-life answers are going to give us the headline that we need to both of us rocket to stardom.
Is that right?
I'm an optimist.
So you want to know how we came up with that cover? No.
Yes, I do. Okay, but the question that they popped off the internet was, if you were sent to live in the space station for 1 year, what 3 things would you bring with you?
I'd definitely bring my book.
Definitely bring your
the
book.
Yes. What 3 things?
If you go to space, folks,
this is
this
definitely
is the book
a
for
must
you.
read.
Okay.
What else would I bring? Hopefully, I'd bring my wife, so I
gonna
wouldn't
say,
be alone.
let's not get in trouble.
I definitely want to bring my wife, and I don't know. Those are 2
what
special
else do you need?
things.
You're in space, right?
I'm in space. You know, I want to have a lot of water.
A lot of water. There you go. we're gonna assume NASA's gonna hook him up there.
Yeah,
okay. Well, you spent 42 years in the classroom, so this is an easy one, I guess. If you joined the circus, what would you be?
A juggler.
A juggler.
Yeah.
And 42 years in a schoolhouse. That'll do it. Okay. So you love kids.
Yes.
And you loved working with kids and molding kids. Kids have their favorite things too, and they don't change throughout the year. So when you were a kid, favorite cartoon?
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry.
They never had to say, they didn't say any words most of the time. You got the point. Although it was a little violent when you go back and look at it today. They were always beating up on each other.
You know, they did seem so. I was a Roadrunner kid, and Wile E. Coyote just kept getting beat to death. But compared to a video game, a modern video game, he had nothing going on him, because at least I never saw blood.
Yeah.
He got smushed, dropped, you name it, and he got up and he was just fine. Okay, well, as a teacher, as an educator, as someone who's worked with kids, if I could give you a superpower, what would be the ultimate superpower to have?
Ultimate superpower. Wow. You know, having worked with all levels, you know, if I had a superpower, it would be some way to really get through to the really tough ones. The ones that have a shield and they don't
Just
let their guard down.
Some way, some form of osmosis that can just share
some form of way that I could get them to relax and be willing to take the information.
He's not Superman, guys. Professor X. He's going to just put the
Yeah, I'm
knowledge
going to put
in
it in
there.
your
That's
brain.
right.
That's right.
Okay, well, what's coming up next for you as an author, or what's coming down the pike for you?
Well, you know,
we know you just survived cancer.
Yeah,
I know you have plans now.
Oh yeah, we absolutely do. In the book, I talk a little bit about PIG, which is People Inspiring Greatness.
Okay.
It's the power of the pig. And so what I'm going to talk about...
The power of the pig. I'm sure the web's going to do something funky
Yeah, the
with
power
that.
of the pig, People Inspiring
Greatness.
It's basically going to be a how to get people to inspire greatness in others. So, and there's some stories about it that are really fun that I mentioned a little bit in this book that...
That is fantastic. You are the perfect guest to have here on the show. Our motto on the show is create, aspire, and inspire.
Right.
We want our creators to come on. We want them to create great books, great things. We want them to aspire to greatness, and we want them to inspire everyone else to go out and do the same.
Absolutely.
So that's what it's all about. We have to wrap it up. That's my shut up card. I rarely
Can I do one thing? Can I
You may
It's
indeed.
on Amazon.com.
Yeah, we're going to put those links down below.
And you can also get it at Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And the cover, my wife said, get your suit on.
We do want to know about that cover.
Yeah,
yes.
she said, let's get your suit on. We're going to the ocean. I said, what for? She said, we're going to take a picture of you coming out of the ocean because it's about the sharks and the dolphins. And we went right over here locally to the beach in my suit. And I did have Crocs on, you know, so I didn't ruin my shoes. And my briefcase as I'm coming out of the ocean.
It's an amazing photo. It is really, really, really true to the story that you're telling, which is amazing. That's an inspired idea. That really is an inspired. Come on out here. Come on out here.
I want you to see. She should have been a co-author because she had such an impact
brilliant
on this
idea
book.
here. We're gonna move her into the shot here. Good.
Yeah.
So. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful story, wonderful book, inspired cover. It truly is. And we wanted to say hello to the World Wide Web.
Hello.
This is my Maria.
This is Maria and Ken. Ken and Maria, this is the World Wide Web.
Thank you,
you're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
I've got to wrap it up. She's flashing
We have
that
a
card
gift for
back
you.
there.
You're going to get your own copy.
Thank you so much, Ken. Really, really, really. Thanks. As we wrap it up, folks, we want to say a special thank you to our partners and our friends at Something Unique Magazine, the Florida Book News, Wordfire Press, Space Coast Comics, Famous Faces and Funnies. These are the folks that share these videos all over the World Wide Web, help to build an audience and the readership for you, help to build an audience for us. I'm GW Pomacher. We have spent the last 10 or 15 minutes hanging with K.R. Miller, an educator, a motivational speaker, and the author of Swimming with Sharks and Dolphins. Pick this up at Amazon, at other online bookstores. We're going to put the links down below so that you can find Ken and Maria online. Remember, folks, subscribe, log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.